I'll have a vanilla, one of the vanilla bullshit things, whatever you want, some vanilla bullshit, latte, kappa thing, whatever you got.
Fuck you, Larry, bullshit motherfucker! You are such a bald asshole!
I'm not sure.
What is that? Oh, that's mine! Hey!
This is the one you're
That's
talking
it,
about?
yeah!
Mondo.
Mondo Freaks.
Mondo Freaks.
How's it going, everybody? Happy Sunday night. Happy Curb Your Enthusiasm Season 12, also known as the final season premiere night for those of you that are not watching the Grammys right now and all the Taylor Swift stuff that's going down. She announced a new album tonight. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyways, I'm Rob Fishbeck, and here with me is the reason that this show is existing right now on air. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin the Juice.
How we doing? So excited. So much fun. I've been looking forward to this for a very, very long time. About 6 hours ago when I was just casually scrolling Instagram.
So
somebody else was a Curb fan.
I always let people know what goes on, full disclosure behind the scenes. So I'm literally, straight up, I had just gotten home from the gym and I was like, all right, I'm going to clean for a little bit. I got some laundry to do. I'm going to watch Point Blank with Lee Marvin, which I've never seen. And then I'm going to watch Curb. And then I'm just, probably going to watch another movie and go to bed. You texted me because of my Instagram story. And you were like, hey, you want to do like a recap of the episodes? And I'm like, 100% I am down for this. Absolutely. So in the interim, I've been talking with my friend Jimmy. Shout out to Jimmy Bartlett. We've been friends since first grade, and he's who got me into Curb. We were like 14 and he was telling me about it. And this is when I had the TV in the basement at my, the house I grew up in. So, cause obviously there's a lot of vulgarity in this show. No, it's not that. I mean, it's nothing bad. It's not like full nudity or anything, but a lot of vulgarity.
A lot of.
So I'm 14, watching this by myself. He got me into the show, and it was the Kamikaze Bingo season. And I was just like, this is the most ridiculous. I love it. And sometime in the last almost 20 years, for me, this show has overtaken Seinfeld and become, my favorite comedy ever, between the two of them. But I started watching Curb 9 months before The Office premiered. So before The Office, before Parks and Rec. I hadn't watched Arrested Development yet. It's Always Sunny wasn't even in existence yet. So those are my my 5 favorite comedies ever. But this is definitely my number one. So how did you tell the people, how did you get into the show?
Yeah. So grew up my dad always had Seinfeld on. I grew up loving Seinfeld. One of my first initial core memories was I spilt a huge jar my brother's candy corn. He had won from a big school prize. I'm 3 years old. Wasn't even living in Wisconsin at the time. And there was a Seinfeld episode on with and we parodied one of the songs that George was singing to go with the story of me spilling my brother's candy corn. Seinfeld was ingrained in me since I have memories. So but Curb came much later. It wasn't, I don't even want to say within 10 years was the first time I ever actually saw an episode of Curb.
Okay.
Maybe even 8 years. And I'm I love Seinfeld. The idea of Larry David running around. I think I watched one of the Larry David movie.
Sour Grapes.
Was he in a Woody Allen movie?
Yes, he was. It was called Whatever Works. Good
yes.
movie.
Me and my friend watched that movie and we're this is awesome. I'm this has just got to be Curb. So I think, we watched like we got into it. I watched like the first season, couple. This is maybe 4 years ago, and just I kind of stopped. I just was like one of those things I wanted to get back into it, but just never did. And then literally maybe 2 months ago, he texts me and says his buddy got him back into Curb, but he told him to just start watching from season 7 after the divorce because it's just that much more
you
hilarious.
haven't seen between like 4, 5, and 6.
I'll get there.
Okay,
Sorry, this is a long context.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
So he's like, yeah, so my friend tells me I've been watching from like 7. So he visits when he's back home for Christmas. We watch a few episodes where he was, which was season 9.
Is that the Michael J. Fox season? Which season is it? What's the theme?
It's before Latte Larry. It's before.
Okay. Season 9 might be
What's
the
the main
season when they
thing?
came back in 2017.
Yeah, it was.
A pure hiatus.
I think like the MAGA hat
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was the one after
Okay,
the big
that
hiatus.
season.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
The Fuqua or
the
whatever.
Fuqua. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that right. That's
the
the
Fatwa.
Fatwa.
Yeah.
Fatwa. Yeah.
The Fatwa season. That's right. So I watch and like where he is, and I'm like, he goes back, back home, and I'm like, I started like we're already a few episodes in this season. I'll just keep watching. So I watch that season, keeps going, and then just not a few days ago, I finally got to the first episode of season 11 with that's the Dylan O'Brien episode.
Yeah.
That's all I've seen. I've seen a couple of like 1
Okay.
and 2, maybe a little bit of 3.
Yeah.
Season 9 and 10, and like an episode or 2 of
Oh my
11.
God. Okay.
But
yeah.
But I don't care. Like I want to like.
You
I
got
wanna go.
you got to catch up for some.
I got some
lost
catching
time.
up to do.
So, because I was watching your reaction when I was playing the intro video, and I was like, maybe he doesn't have the same favorite episodes that I do. A lot of those clips probably don't mean anything to you.
No, I mean they were still funny, but
Right, sure. Right, out of context.
out of context.
Out of context, he just looks like a ridiculous asshole.
Right.
But that's No, okay, great. So this is even better because, like, I'm assuming you're going to go back and watch.
Oh yeah, of
all
course.
them.
Right.
So we can talk about that on the show as
Right.
well. That's
Right.
awesome. Yeah, honestly, like my favorite seasons are probably like 4, 5, and 6. Those are
Okay.
probably
Okay.
my favorite seasons of the show. Just because like early on, like they're good. And then the show just like they really found their rhythm
Sure.
and everything. And then I think the best season personally for me is the fake Seinfeld reunion season. So you'll like that. I know you'll
Okay.
love that one. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's all about Seinfeld.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so Curb, again, what I love about the show, again, this was before The Office, before these like documentary type shows, existed.
Mhm.
I'm watching this as a teenager just going, this is the most I want to be him. Like I want to be this like because I definitely have some Larry David inside of me. I'm sure a lot of us do to varying degrees, but just it's not even like him being an asshole. It's the concepts that these episodes have, like the pants tent, like straight up. I remember like going through puberty and like you would sit down with like pants that aren't jeans and you'd be like, do people think I have an erection right now? And it's like that thought, but like Larry pondered on that thought and like put it in the show.
So I haven't seen that episode, but I've had that thought. So like I know exactly what you're talking about without having seen. That's what is great about the show.
100%. So that being said, all right. So tonight was the season 12 premiere. The final season. I do think Larry's done. Since you're sort of newer to the Curb fandom or Curb viewership,
right.
which you would be surprised the amount of like singer songwriters that I know, and just like just all sorts of different people. I'm like, wait, oh, they watch Curb too. It's like all the people that were sharing I saw on Instagram today, like today's
wow.
the day, you know, and I'm like, never would have pegged her as a Curb fan, but like whatever. So the premiere, so it happened to, again, since you're a little newer, in 2011, whatever season that was, season 8, let's say, the show stopped, and the game's always been with HBO that like they don't sign him for, like, if Larry wants to come back and do another season, they pretty much got an open door policy. That's why we're on season 12, but the show premiered 23 years ago.
Right.
You know, so there was this like 6-year gap. And I'll be like, I remember I rewatched the entire series in 2014 after I got done watching The Sopranos all the way through for the first time, because I needed like the palate cleanser, you know?
Yeah.
And I just remember going, man, you know, what a shame. We'll never. And then a couple years later, Curb's like when it broke that Curb was coming back, the season that you watched, the Fatwa.
Yeah.
That was just like, oh my God, he's coming back. You know, obviously they've played very much into like things that are happening more in the news the last few seasons. The first few seasons were very like the pants tent. It's very conceptual, right? So anyway, so tonight's episode, the season opener, I took notes, you took notes. I'll let you start. What's something you want to bring up from, you know, tonight's episode? And we'll just kind of go back and forth.
I guess feel free, like we were saying, like, you don't watch Curb for the story. So I haven't finished season 11, but I don't really care. Like, honestly, kind of knowing that like that young Larry's a success kind of makes me like, will make me feel better while watching season 11. So, cause I did not know how the Maria thing was going to go. So to find out it's a success is actually hilarious.
Much to his chagrin. Like, he wanted the show to bomb. He did not want to do the show.
So yeah, I guess so. Yeah. It starts with Jimmy Kimmel, and she's being interviewed, obviously. Yeah, right away you just tell that Larry's upset that because is it more that she's getting the glory, or just that he just didn't want the show?
Well, so I mean, I kind of have to like spoil a little bit for you.
Yeah,
so the whole arc of
season
12, or season 11 rather, is that, you know, obviously we know, like in real life shows, like these prequel shows, like Young Sheldon, is definitely what they're ripping off.
Right.
You know, Big Bang Theory was this hugely successful sitcom. They do a prequel, blah, 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 blah. So it's kind of getting tossed around like, Larry should do this. Like, he's young, you know, like long before Seinfeld existed, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, from the episodes you've seen, you understand why he is in this predicament with Maria Sophia Estrada.
Yep.
And, I think it started at HBO, and then it went to Netflix, and then it went to Hulu. It got bounced around with different streamers, and then they ended up picking one. But his whole thing is like, she's so bad. She is such a bad actress. At first, she was going to tank the show. Well, then he decided he didn't want to do the show. So it didn't really so it was like, okay, you know, and then Cheryl was like teaching her how to act and like all this stuff. But anyways, from what I remember, because it's been 2 years,
sure.
The season ended with them like picking it up, and everybody at the studio, whatever studio they ended up on, was like, she's great. She's perfect. You know, and Larry's just sitting there like, this, okay. Because for somebody like me, it's like, you're sitting there, you go, this is exactly what's wrong with Hollywood right now, currently, kind of like all this bullshit. Like, we don't have actors like Paul Newman anymore. You know, it's just this goofy celebrity game, you know, whatever. So to your point, the episode opened, some time's gone by. They're already on season 2. She's super famous now. It's like, it just plays into that whole celebrity culture thing, I think, even more. All right. So this is what I want to lead with. His girlfriend, I can't remember her character's name, but Tracy Ullman.
Oh, yeah.
Tracy Ullman called JG Wentworth 877 cash now. As soon as she was walking down the stairs saying that, I'm like, call JG Wentworth 877 cash now. Obvious. Okay, for the longest time, I just thought that was like a regional ad until tonight. And then I was like, obviously, this ad plays nationwide. Whoever JG Wentworth is,
Right.
he can get you his cash. Obviously, that broke through in Los Angeles. So
Yeah, I've seen it in memes for sure. So
Okay.
yeah, I did like it did click for me. That whole idea of like, yeah,
Totally.
it's just this dumb catchy. I feel like the like maybe even like the next equivalent of that could be like the Whopper jingle. And that thought, like I could see myself sitting where Larry was sitting, having a relationship I didn't want to be in, walking like down the stairs singing Whopper, 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 and being like, I need to something is going to end.
For those of you that aren't aware of the Burger King Whopper ad, What the Show, shout out to What the Show, does this heroes. Okay, I wanna make sure I get this. So it's like a hero villain brackets plural that you guys do.
Yeah, there's multiple brackets. There's a heroes list, which gets splits into like 2 different shows, 2 parts, a villains list, and a chaotic neutral list. All brackets, we fight. So like some of the winners for the heroes is like John Williams and Johnny Lawrence, like just guys we love. Villains is like Bob Chapek and
Do you remember who?
Ticketmaster?
Yeah. No,
Or-
Ticketmaster won.
Yeah.
No, Ticketmaster. No, it was
Or
it was
Ticketmaster
a
was the
Burger King.
runner up.
Yeah,
It
think
was
it
one of
Burger
them. Yeah, they were in the They
But
were
do
all-
you remember who was up against Burger King on the villains bracket?
It wasn't you, was it?
It was me.
Was
Yes,
it?
it was. It was YouTube's own Rob Fishback. That was up against. I'm a big fan of What the Show, so I'm a big fanboy.
I throw in like 2 suggestions, like just as I'm going by my day, and then Mike does the rest for whatever reason. So
Yeah,
90% of What the Show is Mike just doing random things.
Whoever came up with Rob being on the villains bracket, I applaud you all. I love it. Absolutely love it. And then I was up against the Burger King. Luckily, the Burger King ad is more villainous than me, so I, didn't go far in the tournament.
Yeah.
But yes. So all that being said, okay, so all right. So I want to get to this real quick. So
Yeah.
there's obviously, and this is a whole like overarching arc. There's a couple of them in the episode. One of them is the infamous butt dial, which I think
Yeah.
we've all been guilty of.
Yeah.
I
did it
don't
last
really
week.
have any like crazy butt dial stories that I can think of offhand. I've gotten a few butt dial calls for sure over the years, but is there any butt dial situations that's happened in your life?
I don't have any I don't have any great stories. A couple weeks ago, I did leave like a 3-minute voicemail on somebody's phone. I don't know if they heard anything or not, but
Okay.
yeah, no crazy.
I've been butt dialed multiple times by the same person. I won't say who it is. They're not like in our circle.
I do hear that there are like certain people that do it a lot.
And he's a great person, absolutely great person, big part of my life. And he's a baby boomer. I'll leave it at that. So the concept of like turning the phone onto the lock screen doesn't always connect with him still. So he'll
Sure.
just have his phone and he'll just stick it in his pocket. Well, there's been so many times where he'll call me and I'll answer the phone. I go, hey. And then like, I'm like, okay, maybe he's lighting a cigarette or
yeah.
something, whatever. And then it's like, hello. And then there's been times he's called, and then like eventually I'll just like hang up or whatever. I'll call him back and then he'll be like, oh, I butt dialed you. There have been times where he's butt dialed me and is carrying on like a full-on conversation with somebody else.
Oh wow.
And I'm just saying, but you can only hear parts of it. You can only hear his side.
Yeah.
So I'll listen in for like 10 seconds and I'll go, obviously I'm being butt dialed right now. I'll hang up and I'll text him and be like, "Hey, did you butt dial me, or were you calling me to hear this conversation?" Like, LOL.
Yeah.
But I love how they've finally, like, I feel like after 12 seasons, 100+ episodes, you've commented on a lot of things that have taken place in society, plus all the years on Seinfeld between him and Jerry.
Yeah.
So it's like we're starting to kind of get to some of like the newer, like the butt dialing. That's a newer thing in the history of humans. It's only been around for like 15 years.
Same with like the Siri, him kind of yelling. I think that, I feel like that might have been a little, like, I feel like that joke could have been told a while ago.
Sure.
Maybe it was just in the backlog. They hadn't got to it and they just, wanted to throw in a little extra. But yeah, that was pretty funny though.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
I am the oldest young person that I know. And like I have all these like old school ways of doing things. And then like I'll be in the car with somebody my age and I'll be like, blah 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 blah. You can just do that. And I'm just like, this is just easier. It's just easier if I do it this way. Like I won't say her name, but I'll be watching television and I have that person like shut off on my phone.
Yeah.
But they'll say something that's close to starts with an S. And then my laptop, this very MacBook will start talking to me at 1:00 in the morning in the middle of like some hard drama Oscar bait movie.
Oh, really?
And like somebody's like just got shot and they'll be like, I can't find search results for blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I'm like, shut up. It's happened at least a dozen times since I've had this.
Gotcha.
Drives me
Yeah.
insane.
I guess I'm like an Android Windows user. So I guess that's kind of why the joke didn't resonate fully with me. I understood understood it, but I was like, yeah, I thankfully don't have to go through that.
What do you do? Okay, so you're staying in a hotel for a couple of nights. What do you, because listen, I've got stories all day. People think I'm crazy because if I'm staying at a hotel, the first thing I do when I get in the room is unpack my suitcase and I put all the clothes in the dresser and then I take all the toiletries. And if it's just me and one other person, I go and put them like on one side or one of the sinks in the bathroom. But I've gone on trips with good friends of mine before and we'll stay somewhere for 4 days. And they literally just live out of the suitcase the whole time. They never take the time to put their clothes in the dresser. What do you do in hotel or Airbnb? Like, what's your...
I'm with you. I used to be a suitcase liver.
Okay.
I used to. Then eventually one trip, got to the hotel, looked, saw the dresser drawer, was like, you know what? My life is going to be so much easier if I just put everything in my suitcase into this drawer. It's so nice, so convenient. You go in, just it's all right there. Then I put the dirty clothes into the suitcase. I'm not mixing dirty clothes with clean clothes. Because that's the worst part of living out of a suitcase is you don't know. It's like, wait, was that dirty or was that clean? You're like putting dirty in a plastic bag and it overflows. And it like, what do I get 2 plastic bags? What?
I
right
was
in the dresser.
I was in the plastic bag. So I have some tips. Garbage bag, bring garbage bag. Garbage bag will fit a week's worth of dirty clothes in it.
Good point.
I used to do, because if you go most hotels and some motels, no shade to the motels. If you go in the closet, there's usually a bag for like a laundry service, a plastic bag. So you can always take that and put your dirty stuff in there, or you can just put all your dirty stuff in the suitcase. But then at the end of the trip, what if you still got some clean clothes? I don't like mixing the clean with the dirty. So what I started doing about, gosh, I don't know, I would say like 7 years ago, I was like, I'm just going to bring a garbage bag. And then, so what I do is I put all the dirty stuff in the garbage bag. I put that in the suitcase. And then at the end of the trip, let's say I got 2 pairs of underwear, 2 pairs of socks, and 2 t-shirts left over and a pair of shorts. I set all that on top of the closed garbage bag that's already in the suitcase. I set that stuff on top so it doesn't intermingle.
Ah, okay.
There's a little bit of a border there, if you will. like I said, I watch Curb and I go, oh, life lessons.
Yeah. I think I was at the point where if you get to the end of the trip, all the dirty stuff gets mixed into clean stuff, all goes in the wash. But yeah,
All goes in the wash.
that looks a little bit better.
I will say this: when we were younger, we went out to Spokane, Washington one time, me and a group of friends, to visit one of our buddies for like 4 or 5 nights, and did not want the maid to come in at all because here's the deal. I mean, there's no reason to have our sheets changed. We're only there for 4 days. You know, how often do you? I mean, I wash my sheets like once a month, and that might gross people out, but like whatever. I say this to say, I loved when the maid came in and she's like, I come back, because she just saw the total disarray of like, he started to unpack and then he just put the clothes on his bed. Do you know anybody that's like that at hotels?
Just the chaos everywhere.
Yeah.
Not as much. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I have more suitcase livers. Is what mostly what I'm dealing with.
You know the suitcase dwellers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want that. This reminds me. So I work in a like resort bar. So, but we've got like kind of that 4 or 5 star service, whatever, in the hotel rooms.
Right.
So the way that what they're supposed to do, the guest leaves for the day. The housekeeper comes into the room, folds all of their clothes, folds like if they have an iPhone charger, dangled up, they'll like neatly like arrange the charger. Like they go touch everything. They like neatly arrange all the toiletries, towels, everything. What do you feel about that?
So here's the deal. Once I stake my claim to that room, I don't want anybody in there till I leave. And I'm not dirty. So
yeah,
once all my like, I will not leave the bathroom in disarray. What I usually do is at the end of the trip, depends on how many nights you're staying to. I take all the towels, I put them in the tub. Obviously not with water in it, but I put them in.
Right.
That way they're all there. They're all organized. They can come by, swoop them up, get rid of them. I don't know if I would be comfortable with somebody coming in my room. Like if I'm out for the day, like if I'm staying there for 3 nights and day 1 after the first night, somebody comes in there and like, I mean, all good intentions.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess that might just have to be something that I would get used to if I was staying at a nice resort like the one you work at. How would you feel about that?
I'm with you. I wouldn't want it at all. I'm neat and organized in my own way. It might not appear like that to everyone, but like I know what's going on. I can see like a more you kind of get to that a little bit more like rich, well-off place. And you start staying at places where like, they do just come clean everything for you. So you just, I don't even care. I'm just going to throw. So that might've been kind of what Larry was doing in a way. Like, all right, I'm just gonna start throwing stuff places. But
because he's probably used to staying in 4 to 5 star hotels, being Larry David, co-creator of Seinfeld, right? But I don't think he's ever been to Atlanta, Georgia, based on the context of this episode. All right, so we've moved past the hotel thing. All right. Quick little story, and then I want to hear all your thoughts. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing all the people that I care about and socializing and all that sort of stuff. I used to love parties, like love going to parties, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if it's just because I've gotten older or I've changed for some reason or whatever it be. But like, for example, like when we were all in LA, I knew it was going to be a madhouse, right? Could I always hear what people were saying when they're trying to talk to me and we're in a crowded bar, asses to elbows.
Oh yeah.
Kind of, sort of, maybe. But the idea of people and somebody inviting you to a party that you don't know anyone at. Now that sounds like a drag. I understand he's getting paid, and I'm sure he's getting paid well,
Yeah.
but I don't think he needs the money. What is your overall, like, before we get to just like him being an asshole there with the nicknames?
Right. So something like what we were at in LA was great, because even if you didn't know or had like hadn't previously had like a conversation with the person, you still kind of knew who they were to a degree.
Sure,
So like you could say hi and it wouldn't be awkward, you know. It's like, oh yeah. Especially kind of, yeah, later at the end of the night kind of a thing. I was at a Christmas party recently that's typically a little bit more intimate, maybe 20 people,
Sure.
where everyone knows each other pretty well, but a lot of like different people got invited to it, and so it ended up being more like 40, and a lot of people that didn't know each other were there. And I definitely, like, I was very comfortable with the people I knew, but like suddenly I have these people that I don't know that well or even at all, and they're like talking to me, coming up to me because I made like the drinks for it, and they're like, oh man, this is like so great, like, oh, how do I recreate this cocktail at home? And I'm like, wait, who are you? Like, what? This is like our party. Like, why am I talking to you? My friends are here. So yeah, like that. As soon as like people you don't know start creeping in to those places. But yeah, Larry going into it totally like he doesn't even know the guy that he's going to meet initially. Doesn't even know.
He's not even from Africa.
He's not even African.
He's from South Africa.
I know some South Africans, so this was pretty funny to watch. But yeah, I couldn't imagine. That would be torture. Trying to
I'll tell you one quick anecdote. So, really good friend of mine, he's been on this channel before, lives around here. It was his birthday a couple months ago. So it was at him and his mom's house. So, you know, super excited about it. See his family and stuff. But outside of like him and his family, which there's probably like, I would say 6 or 7 of his family members that I know very well from just over the years playing gigs and all this stuff. But like his other friends, because again, we know each other from the music scene. We've been good friends for a long time. But I don't necessarily know like his other friends or like other people that were there, like especially like the girlfriends and or wives of these people, or the boyfriends or husbands of these people, whatever it be. And for me, going to a party when the main person you know is like the host, you know what I mean? You know you're only going to get so much FaceTime with that person,
right?
Or one-on-one time with that person. So you're kind of left to your own devices to mingle with all of these other people. So like for me, and I had a great time and got to know a bunch of his friends and everything. No harm, no foul. But like to me, those are the most like, when you're driving there, you're just like, all right, what's it going to be? I'm hoping some of these people like my stories. Like, what are some good anecdotes that I can tell? Because you're going in blind. You don't. Oh, yeah. To your point, to your point, there was a few people that walked up to me in LA and were like, hey, you're Rob Fishbeck. And I'm like, I don't know who this person is. You know, but I'm sure they're from YouTube. So, you know, super friendly, not sound arrogant or anything. Like I'm not some celebrity. No. But then, like, at the same time, it's like there would be people like, I recognize their face, kind of. Like, I'm going to walk up to them. Hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. Just kind of real small talk, you know. But when you're going to a party like this, where it's like, all right, these are all like non-entertainment people. So like, they're not necessarily going to be on, you know.
No,
so
they're
like,
just themselves.
It's fine.
What is
Please
that?
be yourselves, everybody. Always be yourselves. But you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
we're like just kind of we're on. Like
We're on.
We're just
Yeah.
on all
Oh, yeah.
the time. You know. So because I mean, again, I'm sure based on what you were telling me, like you made all the drinks for this party, like most people they don't necessarily expect me to be like the life of the party, but like most people like, oh, Rob's coming. We got somebody now to DJ. We got somebody to, you know, it's going to tell a funny story. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
'cause everybody's used to me being on. Like I'm not on at home, but when I go out in public, I am. you
Right.
know?
Right.
So I love how Larry's version of like being cordial is just like, yeah, you know, and he's just like, he's so faking it. So faking it.
Yeah, for me, the worst is the conversations. I have a lot of like blue collar friends which
Same.
is fantastic, which
Same.
is great. But you have no conversation with them. You have absolutely nothing in common. So every time we talk, it's like, hey, how you doing? It's like, good. What are you up to these days? Oh, just working. What about you? Yeah, just working a lot. Yeah. And I'm at the point where, like, as soon as one of them starts to come up to me, I just want to be like, yeah, you're working, I'm working, we're all working. Yeah. I just want to, like, let's just,
because again,
we're not
because
friends.
again, like,
Come
do
on.
you really want to know? Like, because it's like, what have you been up to? Well, you know, I don't know. It's between Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone who's going to win Best Actress this year. You know, I mean, statistically, I think it's going to go to Lily Gladstone because she's going to be the first Native American lead actress to win an Oscar, and we had our first Asian American. I mean, like, if you really want to know, that's what I'm going to talk about. Or like, oh, I'm working on this song, or I'm working on a screenplay, or like, oh, I just edited this great. Me and Lego did this 80s horror episode, and I spent 7 hours working on this intro video. You want to see it? It's 2.5 minutes. Yeah, because to your point, if you're around like blue collar people, which most of my best friends are blue collar people.
Yeah, same.
It's, you know, I don't know what to
they
talk to you about, because if you want to listen, I'm in. But
Right.
But then most of the time, like, people would just stop at, who's Lily Gladstone?
Because the stuff that I have to say is boring to you. The stuff you have to say is boring to me. It's like it's no disrespect and on either side of the table, but it's like we don't have to have this conversation. We can just say, you know, hey, and move on.
Like, man, one of my coworkers, he was arc welding when you should have done TIG welding.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I don't even.
I've welded twice in my life.
I had jumped my car the other day. I had to watch some YouTube to make sure I was doing it right, but I did it. True story.
I love the line when Larry said, flash forward a little in the episode, when he's asked the maid, he's like, is it up to the maid or the guest to take the glasses out of the toilet, hypothetically, because I've never stuck my hand in a toilet in my life. And as soon as he said that, I literally just ripped out one of the toilets in this house a week and a half ago, the day the Oscar noms came out, and changed out all the parts in it and put a new seal and like washed out the toilet line and everything. And like, yeah, I watched a YouTube video as well, you know, just to remind myself how to do it, because it had been a little while.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's the level, that's his personality. This man's never tried to fix a toilet before.
Oh yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I just think that's stuff's hilarious.
Yeah. I did drop. What did I drop? I dropped something in the toilet a couple of years ago. I think I dropped my phone in the toilet.
That's not a good.
Yeah, not
That's
good.
like,
I got it, but it's not good. Not proud of it.
Drop things in the toilet like wallet and phone and keys now, because most keys are run by a fob, which has a battery in it. So like those would be like the three worst things, or I guess just like money.
Oh yeah,
you know. But like if you have old keys, who gives a shit?
Oh yeah, that doesn't.
As long as there's nothing else in the toilet, you're all right.
Right.
But the newer ones, because like I have a fob. The car I drive's 10 years old, but it's like got a fob. So like if I drop that in the toilet, I don't know if I'd be able to get home.
Right.
You know, straight up. So
that was the interesting thing. Like his toilet, like the toilet he dropped it into the glasses, it was a clean toilet. Like it wasn't like he
very
just
clean.
went to the bathroom. So yeah, I wouldn't have had a problem grabbing those out. I just washed my hands.
I would have just stuck my hand right in there. Like
Yeah.
that toilet was very clean. Like it
Probably-
didn't even
yeah.
have the fart splotches in there. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It also made me realize I was like, should probably clean my toilet a little harder going forward to
Yeah.
try to make it look
Yeah,
like
right.
that toilet.
Yeah.
Do you wear glasses or contacts?
So this is funny. So I have a pair of prescription glasses. I'm right at that like line of you can legally drive without glasses. In high school was the last time I had like my prescription updated. Until last summer, I went and got my prescription updated, but all I bought was prescription sunglasses. So I have updated prescription purple like aviator sunglasses, but I don't have updated prescription regular glasses. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. So everyone in my family wears either glasses or contacts. I have really good eyesight though. Must have been all those carrots I ate growing up.
Nice.
Don't ask me why. I say this and then my eyesight will probably go to shit in the next couple of years. But welcome to life, people. I
Yeah.
say this to say the whole stretching out the frames, forget whether you wear glasses or not. I've experienced this with sunglasses before. Like I'll be in the car, like straight up, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. Anybody that's ever known me, friends or enemies. I always have a little inside secret. I buy all my sunglasses at the dollar store, and I buy them in bulk. So I wear the small aviators I have for 15 years, and Dollar Tree. Shout out to Dollar Tree. I still have like 10 pairs that are in a drawer that are all still have the tags on them, because no joke, like 5 or 6 years ago, I asked the lady, I was like, do you just have a box of these like in the back and just buy the whole box? So I bought a whole 12 pack, 12 pairs of glasses, came in a 12 pack. So I say all this to say, and then like, I would say about every 8, like one time I was wearing a pair for just like 2 months and I sat on them. I was like, these are junk. But usually a pair will last me like 18 months before they start looking kind of like you bought these at a dollar store.
Sure.
These are actually a pair. These are a good pair that I have. So these are good ones because I got these at Walmart because they got these nice backings on them. But anyway, I say this to say, I've had people, you're in the car, man, it got sunny real quick. Oh, hey, you got an extra, because like they'll open my glove compartment and there's like 3 pairs of sunglasses in there, and then they'll put them on. And then it's like, and now they're all loosey goosey. Have you ever had any of these situations? I've only had a few of them, but like that would drive me insane. Somebody stretching out my glass frames.
The problem, so one of my friends, his head is so big, he can't even it can't even get to that point where he's stretching it out because he can't even bend it like far enough to where it would even fit on his head to begin with.
Yeah.
So I've made so many of these like big head jokes to him in the past, but I can't actually remember a time where he actually like put something of mine on, whether it be a hat. I feel like I have had a hat stretched out, but yeah, I can't remember a time where it actually happened, but the sentiment was there for me. Definitely.
You ever had any of your clothes stretched out by somebody that wore them? You think I got one. So this was March Madness 2011. It was the year VCU made it to the Final Four.
Okay.
Long story short. So I was on Amazon and I got a VCU t-shirt and I got a Duke t-shirt. I'm a big Duke fan. And I had just gotten them in the mail. My mom was out of town. I had a big party at my house. There was like 15 guys there. No girls. We all got fucking trashed. One of my best friends, he got really drunk. It was pretty early in the night. And he's like, I'm gonna go take a nap on your couch for a while. I was like, sounds
Oh,
good.
boy.
So in the interim, he'd thrown up on his he had thrown up on his shirt. Right. So I come upstairs like an hour later, and he's passed the fuck out on my couch, wearing my Duke t-shirt.
Oh man.
And this is back when I was like a lot scrawnier, so it was a medium, and he was definitely a large. Okay, big shoulders. And I'm like, oh my god. So I just like let it be. Wash the shirt the next day. It was always a little loose. Just a little loose. Like, I'm one of those people, like, the more I talk, the more I sound like Larry David. I usually buy two. So like any like hoodies that I like, I buy cheap ones at Walmart.
Sure,
But the hoodies that I get, I always buy them in pairs.
Okay.
And one pair I'm never allowed to roll the sleeves up on because you lose the elasticity. And then the other hoodie, I'll wear that to the gym, whatever, and like I'll roll the sleeves up and it'll get all stretched out. And
Okay.
I don't care. After a while, it doesn't matter if you wash it or not. It never really gets the elasticity back. So
Sure.
I'm kind of big on that. Do you have any clothing rituals or habits or anything of that nature?
I just started doing I think I'm gonna have like a gym sweatshirt. So like so my dilemma is it's cold. It's cold
Yeah.
where we are.
Yeah.
You go to the gym, you have to have a sweatshirt when you leave the gym. When you get there, when you leave. So I was bringing only one sweatshirt. So I was getting sweaty in the sweatshirt, working out, take the sweatshirt off, go shower, get clean, putting the same like dirty sweatshirt back on.
You shower at the gym.
I do because the gym is part of the resort that I work at. We get like an employee
so you
discount.
do it right before work.
So I do it right before work. Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's like way like a nice gym at an affordable price as an employee that you would never be able to afford otherwise. So it's like, why not? But so yeah, right. When I go right to work, or if I have to go right to a function after the workout, I'll shower there. But it's really nice showers too. Like I actually I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to shower at home, being like, I wish I was showering at the gym. It's not like you're at the YMCA with like a bunch of other dudes. You're all naked in one just communal shower. It's like this is like a nice 3-4 different heads. That's a whole episode in of itself.
Whoa.
Yeah, the big
living
one,
high on the hog.
normal, yeah, and two that shoot like right at you. It's awesome. But so I've just started like I'll like pack my gym bag with like a clean sweatshirt, have the dirty one I wear while I work out, take it off, put the new one back on. But yeah, I can't think of any other crazy clothing rituals.
Yeah.
I do own probably 100 t-shirts.
Okay.
Probably more than that. 150 since, I've been a medium since like 10 years old. So
My problem is I was a medium for a long time, and then I hit like 27 and I had stopped taking Adderall like 9 months earlier. So I kind of put like 10 pounds on immediately because like Adderall, boys and girls, Adderall will keep you thin. So that happened. So I've been a large for like about 7 years,
Gotcha.
almost 7 years now. So, but good for you. You've kept your shape. You're still a medium.
still a medium. Yeah.
So that's why you got so many shirts.
Yeah. I don't want to throw them away because they're like, I'd like to like create a collage out of them. Like so many band t-shirts.
I want to make
memorable.
a quilt out of them. You said
Yeah, like a
band t-shirts.
quilt. Yeah.
How much? I couldn't tell you. I've probably got a lot of money in band t-shirts because I buy the ones at the shows. Now I don't
Yeah.
do it often anymore. I think the last band shirt I actually bought was when I saw Tom Petty right before he died. But I used to buy them all the time. And then I still have a bin. I have a bin of medium t-shirts like George Strait, Springsteen, Sturgill Simpson, all these people. I bought their shirts at shows, but I no longer fit into the shirt. But
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
I paid $40 for this. Like, I don't.
Yeah, you're getting
I
rid
kind of
of
want to
that.
get like
Yeah.
a quilt made out of them or something. You know.
Exactly. I have I've just very recently cleaned out my like entire bedroom. I have like a full massive garbage bag full of clothes that I don't want to throw away, but will probably never wear again. So huge, however many gallons. And then the worst part is I love my medium t-shirts. You should be a big t-shirt guy. I would much rather just wear like a comfortable red or black t-shirt, no logo, nothing, just fits.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
27. Okay. Where I was 20, 28, 29. I just turned 33 recently, the last couple of months. I'll always be 33 now. But I say this, so there's a reason I'm saying this. I was the same. I was always like a graphics tee guy. Now, like I got a graphic tee on right now just because like literally this is what I wore to the gym today because it's like Sunday fun day. I don't give a shit. I'm going to shower after this show. I just put the flannel on over it. Used to be, and I still will wear graphic t-shirts, but I got a couple plain gray t-shirts at Walmart they were like $3 each going into the summer of 2018. And I just remember going, man, that's a deal. Like I'm going to get like 4 or 5 of these. And like this is before I started working out. And I was like, oh, I can wear them if I'm like working outside or like they're good undershirts. Man, they're $3. Like I would never just wear a plain gray t-shirt. I do it all the time now.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's me with black.
Plain gray.
Yeah. Yeah. Red's like the one color exception. Otherwise, it's just
you look great in
black.
red. I can't pull red off with the, you know.
No, I guess.
Too much red.
It
It hurts people's eyes.
But yeah, just black t-shirts. Just I don't know.
And I don't know what it is, but with the plain shirts, like, and maybe it's the freedom of, I don't know. Like I always would feel like, oh, I'm wearing my Sturgill Simpson shirt that I paid $40 for. Like, don't eat barbecue, you know, like make sure you don't get too sweaty in it. These $3 shirts from Walmart, I'm like diving into shit. I don't care, you know, but like, I will say shout out to Walmart's t-shirts, the brand George. They hold up. They hold up really well.
Like I think I used to like really care when I was younger, high school, early 20s, like about what I was wearing as far as like I wanted to like be portraying an image. Like I'm the guy that likes this band that you don't know. That makes me cooler than you. Or this obscure baseball player. I have so many baseball t-shirts, so many like random European metal band shirts. So, but they're not comfortable. So when I get out, I get out of the shower or whatever, and I no longer am thinking what's going to make me look good. I'm thinking what's going to feel good. And this stretchy t-shirt is what's going to do it.
Dude, I hear you. I was that same guy. Like, I hope people ask me who this person is on my shirt so I can be like, oh, you don't know so-and-so? I'm that fucking cool. And then once you start approaching 30, it's like, I don't give a fuck. Just leave me alone. Like, I don't want to be talked.
I don't want you. If you see me wearing a shirt like that, I don't want you to talk to me. For the concert, it's a different thing. But like,
you can rep at shows. Like I went and saw Jason Isbell twice last spring, and I wore a John Prine t-shirt the first night. And me and my sister were leaving the show, and this guy straight up dead stop. He goes, "Oh man, I love your John Prine shirt." And I'm like, "Thank you very much." I went and saw Yola a couple years ago with my cousin. I had my Tom Petty shirt on. I came walking out. Dude, I love your shirt, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Yeah. And I'm like, see, I'm fine with it there.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want people approaching me in Walmart being like, hey man, I love your Tom. It's like, I just woke up 20 minutes ago. I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
You know?
And you don't hear, like, I always double take everything. Like, anytime somebody says anything to me, I'm pretty much always like, what'd you say? Yeah, like I have a Pink Floyd sweatshirt. I love it. I wear it a lot. But yeah, I do get a lot of like Pink Floyd. Yeah, just random people that are like, "Oh, I love your t-shirt." I'm like, what did you just say?" And they're like, "I love your sweatshirt." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Like,
And with Pink Floyd, it could be like anybody 75 or younger. So like it literally could be anybody. Because
70, yeah,
70
70-year-olds, 20-year-old girls. Like, I've got it all.
I know a girl that owns a Pink Floyd t-shirt, doesn't even listen to Pink Floyd. Because like that's a thing now. People buy like this new generation, they go to Target and they buy all these band t-shirts for bands
Right.
they don't even listen to.
So here's what's great. So I am a Pink Floyd fan. However, at Walmart, when I was in high school, there was a very cool looking Pink Floyd t-shirt. Before I had listened to him, I couldn't name one song. I bought it, felt like a poser, went to the library, got their CDs, became a massive Pink Floyd fan just because I didn't want to look like a poser wearing the shirt.
I shit you not. When I was younger, I would go to like Hot Topic or like wherever and like I'd be like, you know, man, that's a really cool Doors t-shirt. Like I really like that shirt. And it was like the cover of LA Woman, and it was like a black t-shirt with the album cover on it. It's so funny you bring this up. And I remember like consciously going, yeah, but like that's not my favorite Doors album. Like it's not even my second favorite Doors album. And if somebody stopped me and was like, oh, hey, you know, blah, 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 like, what are your favorite songs on LA Woman? I would feel kind of like disingenuous. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I remember just like not buying the t-shirt. Like that's happened to me before. Like, oh, this is a bit like, yeah, but I only know like their hit. Like I would feel like, shout out to like Mike and Bethany. Like I would feel weird wearing a Billy Joel t-shirt because like,
oh gosh,
I know a lot about Billy Joel, but I'm like a casual Billy Joel fan. Like most of my favorite songs of his are the hits or anything that's on The Stranger. You know what I mean? So like I would feel like weird wearing a Billy Joel t-shirt, but like to most people, I know more about Billy Joel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like the context.
Totally. So it's funny because the Pink Floyd t-shirt that I bought in high school, I was given a gift, like my friend, like family friends that I like do Christmas with and stuff, like mom of that, they got me the that Pink Floyd sweatshirt that I was talking about, but it's a World Tour 1987 sweatshirt. So it looks really cool, but like, obviously I know nothing about, I know their songs, but I don't know anything about their tours from 87. And one of the guys at the hotel I work with, I'm wearing the sweatshirt. He's like, I was at that tour. And I'm like, he's like, what led you to get that? And I'm like, yeah, it's a great time to be alive. Like, so good. Like you, like
it's around
I was
the time
born for
Berlin
10
Wall
years.
fell.
Like, yeah, like I was born 10 years later. It was, so even like though I love Pink Floyd, I still felt like a poser wearing like a tour from the 80s. Obviously, the sweatshirt wasn't from the 80s, but
right.
It was, but.
See, this is what I love about Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like, you just kind of like that's what Curb is, and that's kind of what their show's going to be. Because you said it. Nobody watches Curb for the story.
Right.
Do you have any talking points that you wanted to bring up
for the show?
For the show.
Oh, we should talk about the nickname.
I was gonna say that was the only other one we hadn't gotten to on my list. So, okay, so Justin, I'm assuming Justin is the name on your birth certificate.
Correct.
Okay, right. I didn't think there was a longer version of Justin. Do you have? I mean, obviously, I know a lot of people call you Juice.
Right.
Do you have any other nicknames that like only certain people call you, or?
Yeah. So as a kid, my immediate family, there was like a little brief period where it was like Justy,
Okay.
but like that, I didn't like. It was usually more like a referring to,
Yeah.
versus like a actual like calling me that. So that like I would never want that to leave the immediate family.
Right.
But I don't know what's weird about the Juice is my close friends don't call me Juice.
Is it just
My-
like your YouTube circle friends?
No.
No. Okay.
No. It is them. Not that like Mike and AJ and them that call me that aren't my close friends. Obviously
Right.
they are. But my
Well, I'm
close,
talking about like in
my-
Wisconsin.
yeah, my Wisconsin close
Right.
friends, because they knew me pre-Juice, obviously, like my
Obviously.
pre-Juice friends.
Right.
I was Juice with Mike and AJ and them and Bethany, but yeah, it's weird because because I did like some YouTube videos for the church job that I have where I was referred to as the Juice. So everyone at church started calling me the Juice. Everyone at because it was during COVID, so nobody was doing anything. So all these like all my bar people, like bar coworkers, saw those videos, saw me as the Juice. So like almost overnight during that little COVID period, everyone was calling me the Juice. Except for like my circle of like 3-4 close friends.
The guys you like
And
grew up
my-
with.
Yeah. And my family. But everyone else, what the show and that whole Schmodown circle,
Right.
both like the whole restaurant job, church job, everything, Juice, 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 Juice. So yeah, really, it's like the reverse nickname in a way.
Right. Because it's like, I mean, it's a nickname, but it's not necessarily derived from, like, it'd be like if people called me Bobby, like it would be derived from Robert.
Yeah.
But Juice is, I mean, I know how you took that name on, but like that's great, you know.
Yeah.
Because like for me, real quick, so obviously my name's Robert, right? So that's what they called me for so long. And I remember like in school, like the first couple days every year in grade school, the teacher would be like, I'm going to read your name. If you want to be called by something else, tell me. And then so like if your name was,
Okay. Sure.
you know, Angela and you wanted to go by Annie, or your name was Jonathan, you want to go by Johnny, right? So that was always, and they would always be like, oh, Robert, do you want to be called Rob or Bob or Bob? And I'd be like, no, Robert's fine. Cause like I didn't, it was just my name, you know? And I
Is
just
that what
didn't
your
care.
parents called you?
My parents always called me Robert. Yeah, they still-
Robert?
No, they don't now, but
And
we'll get to that.
Well, sure. You're right. But when you were
So,
growing up, yeah.
When I was growing up, yeah, everybody called me Robert till I was like, well, so I'll get there. So
Sure.
freshman year of high school. Okay. It's like, all right. I remember first day of freshman year. I was like, all right, I'm going to be cool. I want to finally be, I'm sick of being like this weird fucking guy that people really only come to when they want like movie recommendations or like want to talk about like, dude, I was the person I am now. If you could, I've been this way since like fucking kindergarten, like elementary school
that's
teachers.
hilarious.
I'll never forget would ask me like, hey, so, me and my wife are going to a movie this weekend. What would you recommend? And I'd be like, oh, you know, 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and Drew
awesome.
Barrymore. Like I just saw it last week. Straight up. Okay. Like straight up. So freshman year of high school, like, all right, I want to be cool, you know? So it was my world history teacher. And she asked me, it was the same deal. If you want to be called by something else. And I said, you know, Robert's good. And she goes, I kind of want to call you Bobby. And I was like, okay. And she's like, would you be mad if I called you Bobby? Like straight up. And she was one of those, like, she had just gotten her teaching degree. Like it was her first or second year. So she couldn't have been a day over 25, 26.
Sure.
You know, so we're 14, 15. So I'm like, all right. She called me Bobby that whole year, and all of the other teachers called me Robert. So sophomore year rolls around, and this girl that I knew at the time, don't really know her now, but at the time I knew her. And it just slipped out of her mouth one day. She called me Rob. And I was like, you know what? I could kind of get behind that. So we were going into like the next school year. And one of the teachers was like, oh, do you go by same spiel? I've been doing this isn't my first rodeo at this point. And they were like, do you want, and I was like, call me Rob. It's just that one teacher. And I kind of like started digging it. So then like people that I would meet throughout the year would just call me Rob. So by the end of the year, like by the end of that sophomore year, it was like, I'm Rob Fishbeck. I'm not Robert anymore. And then anybody I've met since then, I just introduced myself as Rob, straight up. Now I will say this. Women, when they're mad at me, and if any of you lovely ladies over the years are watching the episode of this show, you know, because you've done it. When they're mad at me, call me Robert. That's when I know I'm in trouble. Every woman I've ever known, that's just how it is. And then like, you know, like my grandma and a few of my relatives that like I'm not super close with, they still call me Robert. My mom, whenever she gets mad at me, she still calls me Robert.
Sure.
But we don't.
That doesn't
really happen much
It's
anymore.
not as often. Yeah.
But so I will say this. So I do have one more caveat, and that's Robbie. Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So my mom's from Southern Indiana. So a lot of my relatives, and my mom's the youngest of 8. The oldest child is 20 or 21 years older than her. So we're dealing with like the silent generation into the baby boomer generation, right? So ever since I was a little kid, a lot of my family down there always called me Robbie. They never called me Robbie. They would call me Robbie. R-O-B-B-I-E or R-O-B-B-Y. Doesn't really matter. So I would prefer the I-E spelling, that being said.
For sure.
And then there's one other person that he's very close to my, he's like my second dad. He calls me Robbie, but nobody else is allowed to call me Robbie except for like my relatives in Southern Indiana. And this guy's name's Bill. They're the only people that call me Robbie. Everybody else, it's Rob, or if you knew me before like 2006, or you're a woman that's upset with me because I probably did something wrong, I am then Robert. So when this whole Brookie thing happened, I was just like jotting it down. I'm like, we're having a conversation on this whole thing. So that being said, do you know people that it's like you got to be in with them to call them?
Well, while I kind of ponder that, I'll give one story that your story just brought me up. But first of all, I do, especially like I have an uncle that passed or a great uncle that passed recently, but he's a Robert, but he's Uncle Bob. Sure. I don't know. I have no idea how like it came from Robert to Bob.
Yeah.
My grandpa's name is James, but he goes by Gene. Like there's so many like different people that have like obviously their actual full name, but you are but they go by something else. With Justin, so obviously up until the juice, Justin, I really get what you were alluding to, but like I never had to deal with any of that. Obviously, it's like I do remember like the conversations where like the teachers at the beginning of school being like, "Yeah, do you have a nickname or a preference?" No,
because I mean, I guess people could call you Jay, but like there's no other
Sure,
real
but
abbreviation for Justin,
that's
right?
not. Yeah. And Jay's a very popular boy's name.
Right.
So
Or like, and you
or
couldn't
letter
add
starting.
the IE or the like. You said
Just-
some of your close family members would call you Justy.
And that
but,
was when
like-
I was like 7, you know, like what? Yeah, like
Right.
like
If your name was Mark as an adult, you could still be called Marky, I suppose. But like,
right.
or John, Johnny, or Mike, Mikey. But like Justin, it just doesn't really. It doesn't have
Yeah.
that.
Doesn't have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was where the juice came from because I didn't have a nickname and I wanted one. So it was like the lack of nickname made me want to have one. But anyway, so there was a funny moment where so my last name's Oliver. So in 7th grade or in middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I had a teacher that would call me Oliver. And like that's fine. He was a dude, like one of the only dude teachers I had. He called me Oliver, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine. And then we had this like regular guy at the bar that I work at. He started to call me Oliver. And because we were friends on Facebook, he learned my last name, started calling me Oliver, and I was like, that reminds me of when my one teacher called me that. Like, that's fine, that's great. Yeah, call me
Right.
Oliver. And then we had this like kind of young, maybe like a month or two like into the job, cocktail like waitress, young bartender girl working with us. She hears him call me Oliver, and she's like, "Hey, Oliver, could you hand me that?" And I immediately went, "No. You don't call me that. He can call me that. My 7th grade teacher can call me that. You can't call me that." Obviously, like I was, had a joking demeanor. I wasn't like
Yeah,
full
yeah.
serious, but like I was like, "No, you're
Yeah.
this is not gonna happen." It was like, no, we're shutting that down. You have to be a male over 40 to call me Oliver. Female under 20? No. not gonna happen.
Hard pass.
But yeah, I don't know.
I do. There's only off the top of my head. There's only one situation. I know some. I won't say what her name is. She's like she's related to somebody that I know. So like I'd see her like once a year, sort of thing, twice a year, and it's like she preferred people to call her by the full version of her name, not the shortened version, because she
Okay.
did correct me because I called her by the shortened version like the third time. She goes, "Once you've known me for like another year or so, you can call me that." But like, and she was kind of drunk,
Oh, sure.
and I just remember going like, that was the first time. This was like 5 or 6 years ago. This was like the first time that had ever happened to me, and I was just like, "What's the big fucking deal?" Like it's just like I didn't say
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
thinking to myself like,
That's
what's the big fucking deal? Like, it's just the shortened version of your full name. You prefer people to call you by your full name. That makes you sound like, I know this might sound bad, but like makes you sound older, like calling somebody by their full, like, because the short version sounds like more fun, more, like whatever.
Right.
You could use my name as an example. Like you call somebody Robert, right? Versus like, you call somebody Robbie, like Robbie's young and fun, and you know what I mean? I was totally just like weird. I was just like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Yeah, I didn't say that to her,
Right,
but
right.
I haven't seen her in a long time. But
I have a very natural inkling to want to call people by their full, like, long name.
sure.
Obviously, like you, I've only ever known you as Rob. You're
Right.
Rob. Well,
Well,
yeah,
you know
but
my
you're Rob.
nickname.
Like,
We didn't talk about my nicknames. Like people call me Roby or like
oh, sure.
Rob
sure,
the
sure.
Renovator. Like
Yeah.
some like
Right.
old friends of mine, they call me Rebs.
But
You know,
we have we have three girls that I work with at the bar. We have a Rebecca, a Samantha, and a Jennifer. It's like, okay, Rebecca? Are you Becca? You know, Becky, Samantha, Sam, like Jennifer, Jenna, Jenny. Like, there's so many different names. So I always like to ask, obviously, when I first meet them, what you prefer. But honestly, I prefer to just call them by the full length name.
Sure.
Jennifer, Samantha, Rebecca. You know, like the full.
I agree.
I enjoy, like, I don't know why I enjoy it.
I agree, but like when you have like 10 other people around you calling them something different, that's when it's gonna throw me off. You know, it's like, all right, what's going on here? But no, I get what you're saying, 100%.
Yeah.
Like if somebody introduced themselves as Jennifer, I would just call them Jennifer. I wouldn't call them Jenny. You know, because like they might not like that. You know.
Yeah.
But then again, if I met somebody and she said her name was Jennifer, the immediately next statement out of my mouth would be, well, Jenny, I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. That would literally be the next thing out of my mouth. And then I would stop and I would behave myself. But
yeah. I'm trying to
oh dear God. This is what I love about Curb Your Enthusiasm.
We've only talked. I just texted my friend and I said, are you watching the show? And he's like, I haven't watched the episode yet. And I want to like respond and be like, you don't need to watch the episode. We haven't talked about the episode.
And by the way, I'm definitely going to put this out as an audio podcast as well. Cause like, I just feel like this is our pilot episode, but like, what a great companion piece to Curb.
Yeah.
Because hopefully anybody that's listening or watching this show can go out and then have these exact conversations with their friends. Because that's kind of the whole point of Curb Your Enthusiasm is observational humor.
Yep. It's fantastic.
I love it. Well, that being said, I kind of want to, we'll try and keep this show around an hour. We're a little longer tonight, but hey, we're trying things out and we did a little intro up top. But yeah, so this show, we'll try and do the show either the night it airs or like the night after or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just based on scheduling. So we're not getting paid for this, by the way, just so everybody's aware. We have no sponsorship with HBO. And that stamps.com sponsorship hasn't happened yet, but I'm still going to plug them. Stamps.com for all your mailing and shipping needs.
BetterHelp. Get BetterHelp.
BetterHelp. AG1. Every podcast I listen to. And I only listen to like 4 shows.
Yeah.
But they're like, I don't even think those 4 shows, none of those people know each other. They're all sponsored by AG1.
If you don't have your own Robert or your own juice to go and complain to, BetterHelp. That's a good prediction. Will there be? That's a good end of the show type of segment. Predictions for cultural topics that will be covered by Curb. Will they cover advertisements, like podcast advertisements? That's a good
so I wouldn't be surprised if they tackle the podcast. So like, and again, I don't want to like knock anybody that does this and can make a living from this, because the Hollywood game is very cutthroat. Now I know Jeff Garland and Susie Essman from Curb are doing like a retrospective. They're going through all the episodes. Love that. I love that Sonny does it. Big It's Always Sunny fan. That's cool and all that jazz. But that's become a big, like, if you've noticed, like Christy Carlson Romano's got a hold on all those old Disney Channel stars that she's like interviewing. And then there's like all of these like retrospective podcasts. I bet you they tackle it like even as a passing joke.
Sure.
Like, hey Larry, have you ever thought about like you and Jerry sitting down and going through all the episodes of Seinfeld?
Fantastic.
I would love that, by the way.
Yeah. I do hope, obviously, as like a rooted Seinfeld fan like yourself, like that there is a good kind of Seinfeld send off to a degree since the last season, but you don't need it, but if it happened, it would be awesome.
Totally. I'm sure they're going to tackle inflation at some point in the season.
Oh yeah.
Cause cause again, Larry's a boomer. So like for him to hand somebody like a 5 or a 10 for a tip would make sense. And I could see some like Gen Zer being like, that's it, that's all I'm worth. And him
Yeah,
going,
great
what are you talking
idea.
about? It's $10. Like $10 is $10.
Yeah.
You can go buy a CD with $10. Larry, nobody listens. Oh man, you bald asshole. Nobody listens to CDs anymore. And $10 can't buy you shit. Like I could see them doing something like that with like inflation.
Yeah.
You know, that would be a good bit.
That's fantastic.
I love it when people call him a bald asshole.
So good.
But yeah, anyways, so that's the pilot episode of this new review series. There's 10 episodes this season, so we'll be
Okay.
doing this.
Yeah.
And then at some point, TBD, everybody, for those of you watching and or listening, whenever you find the show, once Juice is more caught up, I want to do, because I told my friend Jimmy earlier, and you got to tell your buddy.
Yep.
I want to do a
Yep.
show where we talk about our favorite episodes of the series, or like favorite bits of the whole series.
Yeah.
I think maybe more towards the finale. That would be
Sure.
fun.
Sure.
So you want to let all the people know what you got going on, where they can
Yeah,
find you?
of course.
This is plug your shit time.
Let's do it. So, what the show, we're going to be streaming on Wednesday. I have no idea what we're talking about. I never do. I usually like maybe an hour or two before we start, I'll send a text like, what's the topic or guest? But regardless, it's going to be at 9:00 on Wednesday. But I did just release a new Keytar video at the end of January, as it was Harry Styles Keytar, one of these like nice like 2020s pop songs that's got like some synth like melody to it. It's like easy. So I had like the idea for like 2 years to do the song. Finally actually made the video. But yeah, fun little rock cover to it. But other than that, Billy Joel's got a new song. That was pretty good. Did you listen to it?
I haven't listened to it yet. I took a screenshot of it, and I gotta remember. I've been listening to a podcast, like a 3-hour long podcast about horror movies, and like over the last 2 or 3 times I've been at the gym, but I just finished it today. So I'm gonna hear Billy Joel's new song tomorrow. Don't tell Mike and Bethany I haven't listened to it yet, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm sure it's gonna be great.
It's pretty much exactly what you would expect it to be.
Yeah.
There's a point like where he like literally plays one of the Piano Man sections. Like it's
I love it. Good.
it's fitting. It's fitting.
Good for you, Billy Joel. A man, like, I will say this. I love how all these guys are like, just sure, here's a new song. Like,
Yeah.
Thank you, because it's better than most of the stuff that's on the radio, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you can find me at Rob Fishbeck. I'm here this week, I believe Wednesday night. So I made sure we did it after your show. So it's like an hour after what the show would air. We're me and Della Kama are going to be breaking down. So the Beatles 60th anniversary of them playing the Ed Sullivan show is this coming Friday. Big Beatles fan.
Wow.
Yeah. 60 years. Can you believe that? I know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Mike Deacon.
Oh, I go to the comments. Hey, Mike. Yeah. So we'll be talking because so the game plan is me and Della Common are gonna do like a watch along of the Ed Sullivan episode from February 9th. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about it and then kind of open it up to some guests if they'd like to come on the last half hour. Big Beatle fans kind of only.
Wow.
That's the caveat that night.
Given
a
our
Beatles fan?
conversation before, of course I'm a Beatles fan.
Really?
Would I put myself into a hardcore Beatles fan like conversation? Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like, Beatles appreciation. Like, can you
Sure.
name more than 5 Beatles songs?
Oh, of course.
Oh,
I can name 20. But
okay.
still, like, there's still like a level of like, like, I feel like a hardcore Beatles fan literally knows every song. Like, I know the songs. I
Sure.
can name you. I can probably name you 25 favorite songs right now.
Okay. See,
But
to me, you're a
how-
big Beatles fan. Then, if you
but
can,
I
name
don't know, like
25
the
you have a
albums, the
25 favorite.
years. Like people are like, oh yeah, that
Oh,
one album was great. I'm like, yeah.
I'm curious to know if Delacommon knows all the album titles or years because he's more of a Stones guy.
That-
Like I like both of them, but I'm definitely like I know the Beatles more, like better, rather. But
Sure.
yeah, Mike Deacon, we are in need of that Mortal Kombat watch along. Definitely at some point very soon. It
Yeah.
was on Max, then they took it. They take these things off streaming. It drives me nuts. Don't even get me started. Let's say that. That's what they should tackle on Curb this season.
Ooh, yeah.
That's what they
Yeah.
should tackle. But anyways, you can find me at Rob Fishbeck. We'll be back here. We'll be breaking down music this week. And then next Thursday, the 15th, me and Lego and a few guests are going to be doing our double features episode of Characters of Culture, talking about movies that we think are great double features. So you guys have a great night, and we'll see y'all later.
And I'll have a vanilla